Hello.
This is Geek Gab with your host, Dorrinal, Brian Niemeier, and Daddy Warpig. We are back. That's right, Geek Gab, sort of, kind of once a week at an irregular time, the best geek-related talk ever in the history of the universe. I'm going to explain some of the stuff going on behind the scenes at the show tonight. But before I do, I want to say a big hi to Dorrinal. And we are hoping that that Brian will be able to join us soon. How you doing tonight, Dorrinal?
Doing pretty good. I've had a week to recover from last weekend's shenanigans. Geeking out as usual. Enjoying the BlizzCon festivities, actually. It's been a pretty exciting weekend.
Have you been attending BlizzCon?
No, I've been attending home, but BlizzCon is doing their championships for all their games. All the final games are happening today. They're in middle of the Heroes of the Storm final games right now.
I heard something shocking. I heard that the Hearthstone World Championships were beaten by Bob Ross.
Wow. In viewership, you mean?
Yeah, there were more people watching Bob Ross than were watching the Hearthstone World Championship. Let me pause for a second and say hi to Brian, who has just joined us live on the air. We had some last-minute rushing behind the scenes, but I want to get Dorrinal's reaction to that first. I'm not trying to like. Well, maybe I am just a little bit. Maybe I'm just a little bit like smiling in amusement at that, but that is pretty strange, don't you think?
Yeah, totally. Maybe it's just the fun appeal of Bob Ross, or its newness to the whole younger audience, or maybe Hearthstone's just not that popular a game. You know why it isn't really surprising to me? Because they're doing all of the games at once, and so unless you're gonna bust open 3 different screens and watch them at the same time, you couldn't watch the Hearthstone finals at the same time as the Heroes finals or the StarCraft 2 finals. So
they're splitting the audience.
Yeah.
I've never actually played StarCraft 2, which really surprises me.
I remember StarCraft 1. That you could run that on anything. I really like Blizzard's game design.
Is StarCraft 2 any good? Have you played it?
I haven't.
So, Brian. Oh, poor Brian. Let me tell you what happened, folks. Literally 16 minutes ago, I was on the road pulling into town. 16 minutes ago. I got to the house, ran inside, set up the chat, and nobody's listening right now. Literally nobody, because I haven't advertised this. I haven't announced it. I haven't even sent out a tweet yet. I'm composing it as I'm talking. I'm typing the tweet. So we were rushing. I was rushing to get this all set up and get it taken care of and get it on the air. Meanwhile, my 2 co-hosts are going back and forth in DMs asking, down to the last minute and then 1 minute past the last minute, where I was and was I even going to get the show on the air. So we have been, it's a rush to get this together, it's a rush to get this out. So that's why Brian had to join us just a little bit late, and also why he has to leave exactly, if not a minute before or a couple of minutes before the show gets over, because he is taking off to go see Spectre, the new James Bond film, which I myself saw earlier today, and then I went and saw The Last Witch Hunter, so I've had 5, almost 6 hours of movies today, plus an hour and a half of driving, plus, assorted minutes of doing this and that at the theater, standing in line, getting some food, yada, yada, yada. It's been that kind of day. So, Brian, how are you?
Excellent. I hope you had fun. Hope it was worth it.
I don't imagine he had much fun at the last Witch Hunter, but it sounded like a good day.
Oh,
I actually enjoyed The Last Witch Hunter. I'm not saying it's a great movie. I'm not telling you it's something that I would, recommend that children of all ages go see. But I enjoyed it. It wasn't terrible.
pretty good. I've heard it's basically Vin Diesel playing one of his D&D characters.
That would not surprise me, Vin Diesel being Vin Diesel. But
I would still pay big money to see John Malkovich's character sheet that they made together.
They did what now?
Yeah, Vin Diesel. I think it was on the set of Knockaround Guys. There's some movie he was in with Malkovich earlier in his career. Like, he got a lot of the cast together in his trailer, and they played D&D, and John Malkovich played D&D with him. I'd just love to know what he played.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine.
I have absolutely no. I can't even imagine John Malkovich doing role playing, let alone
Why not? He's an actor.
going through Keep on the Borderlands or something, or the what is it, the Steading of the Frost Giant Chief, or running him through the Tomb of Elemental Evil.
I just hope he played a jewel thief.
That would that's just crazy.
Like a halfling rogue or something.
John Malkovich. Oh, seriously though, what? He's bald. He's kind of goofy looking.
Oh,
Half orc. I mean,
I don't know.
I have no idea.
So I'd love to find out.
I am befuddled. Yeah. See, now I'm fascinated just by the thought. I'm fascinated by the thought. I'd like to see. He has a YouTube video. Not John Malkovich. Vin Diesel has a YouTube video of him actually playing D&D.
Sure.
Just like all the other Let's Play guys. You could just tune in and watch him play D&D.
Awesome.
I have to confess, I haven't watched it. That's how much I'm into D&D, is I haven't watched it yet.
Well, speaking of D&D, Dorrinal, I'm very eager to know how your game is going.
Hey, it's been going really well. I've got the players actually still come back.
It's a good sign.
I got some feedback from them, and we had another little awkward, I'm not sure what to do sort of thing at the beginning of last session. So I guess the talk to me about your character's motivations spiel only worked for that one session. But on the advice of one of the other players, I turned up the dial on the amount of actual treasure they were getting, because the module I'm running has basically no treasure in it. I'm not sure how it was written that way, but I turned the dial up on the treasure they were getting, and they were definitely involved to the point of this is how I feel. This is why I feel it was a successful night. We play after work, starting 6-ish, and it was 8 p.m. and they had burned through their spells, surviving monsters, etc. And they found the entrance to the caverns, and instead of just ending the night there, they opted to rest in the wilderness so that they could regain spells and keep playing.
Beautiful.
For me, that was a win.
It is. I second. Well done.
See, that's great. When the players are excited enough to want to keep playing, that there is a point at which that becomes counterproductive. I have found that point to be about 8 o'clock in the morning the next day. To where that... Because at a certain point, when you've hit absolute sleep deprivation, you probably shouldn't be DMing, or at least if you are, you should accept that you're basically DMing as if you had been drunk.
Well, I got a story about that. This ties in perfectly. So back when I was freshman, sophomore in college, that was when I really started getting hardcore into gaming. There was this guy I know named Red who would just have a bunch of us over to his folks' place on the weekends because he pretty much had turned their basement into his own apartment. And, we didn't bother his folks upstairs. They didn't bother us. So we could just do whatever we wanted. And he would just do like 48-hour weekend-long gaming marathons. Yeah. And there's this guy that we played with named Blaine. And most of us wouldn't be there for the whole time. Blaine was an Iron Man. Okay, so he would show up and he would, gen a character on Friday night, like right after school, and play all the way through until like the wee hours on Monday morning, right before school again. Okay. Well, on this particular night, it finally got to him because this was about like 2 a.m. on the Sunday. Blaine had been going the whole time. I wasn't there at that point. Like I had already left, to actually do my homework and stuff, But no, I heard after the fact that like, yeah, Blaine was still there, just powering through it, and he had actually come from working a double shift at a bakery. Okay, it's like hot, sweaty work. So he's already dehydrated, sleep deprived, exhausted, but he was going to game because the game must go on. Hack in the world hacks with you. So anyway, he's playing the game, and they notice he's almost like nodding off, and the head sinking and jerking back up, and eyes closing, jerking back up, and finally he's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, I'm gonna get some water, I'm gonna come back, just watch my character's back. I'm like, are you sure, dude? You look really tired. You got deep circles in your eyes. Like, no, you need me. I'm the healer. I will be right back. So Blaine's gone for a while. People are starting to get worried. Like, should we go in after him? Like, no. Let's finish this room out, and then we'll go. Well, by the time they finish the room, he comes staggering back, like looking like he's seen a ghost or something, and he's like, so is it normal if you just peed, and then you look down into the bowl, and it's all yellow because of the pee, right? And then you see a happy face staring back at you, like one of those Watchmen happy faces. Like, Blaine, dude, you need to go to sleep. That is not normal. It's like, no, I'm all right. Let's pick up some dice. Like, no, dude, you're hallucinating. Here, go in the other room, use my bed, take an hour nap, okay? So I feel like, no, we're doing this. So like, all right, plays for like another couple hours. It's now like 4 a.m. on Sunday morning, and he's like, all right, he's been drinking water to keep himself hydrated. He's like, all right, I'm going back to the bathroom again. I'm like, okay. And then he comes out, and my buddy Red had like a yellow circular clock hanging on his wall in the game room. And Blaine Academy is like, did you see the happy face again? He's like, no, but I could see the yellow clock in the bowl this time. Like, dude, go to sleep. He's like, oh, okay, I'm going to go to sleep. So he went in and slept for an hour, and then he came back and finished the game.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So that is extreme right there. I could never aspire to that.
That is hardcore. That is
the most hardcore gamer I've ever heard of.
I hope he's still alive.
I'm sure he's dead now.
Oh, no.
Bradford Walker in the comments says that Malkovich would be hilarious as a halfling rogue like Belkar from Order of the Stick.
I can picture that.
Yes.
Pickpocketing everybody, backstabbing people. Yeah, I could see Malkovich pulling that off.
Have you guys seen Being John Malkovich?
No.
Of course. Wonderful movie.
Okay, so Dorrinal, you got my Jewel Thief reference then, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah. Just making sure someone did. Warpig, watch the movie. It is transcendent.
And Malkovich.
Malkovich.
Man. Now see, now I'm all upset. I'm all upset because I don't get to ever do role playing anymore. I'm always busy, like always busy. I barely get to do anything anymore.
You signed up for the stupid book.
Yeah.
Today was the first day I've actually gone to the theaters and seen a movie. I can't remember how long it's been because I'm having memories of the last time I saw a movie. I'm thinking, wait, didn't I go see a movie with a friend of mine? But then I had to think, no, that might have been last fall.
Wow.
That might not have been like this fall. In fact, I'm pretty sure that was last fall. That like I've lost a year, which means I haven't talked to that friend in like 8 months at least. I should call them or write them. And it's the other Brian.
The other Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The handsome
probably.
devil.
I should like send him an email or something because if it actually has been 8 months, which would not be surprising.
That's how it is. How's the writing come along, both of you?
I would Daddy Warpig to go first because I'm curious about this.
I have hit a hardcore sickness wall. I haven't been writing anything. Like, I haven't been doing anything. My default state of lucidity most of the time is that I'm able to function on Twitter. And so if I can do more than just function on Twitter, it's been a good day. But for the last 6 weeks, my default setting has been good enough to function on Twitter, and so that's mostly what I do.
The Supreme Dark Lord is disappointed in you. Nah, I'm sure he's fine. It's worth waiting for. Just get better. Take care of yourself.
That's mostly what I do. Not much I can do about it. So, but you are regularly posting like 6,000 words a day or something, or
not
3,000.
The average is like 2,500, and I mean that's editing, not drafting from scratch. So it's really not as impressive as I'm letting on. Although to be fair, it is like 3/4 rewriting because I just get in, I take the scalpel, write 2 paragraphs, and I just dig in there messing around like a game of Operation or something. But yeah, let me tell you what I've been doing. I think I have that same sleep disorder that Milo has, where my circadian rhythm has nothing to do with the sun. Like, for me, the sun is just there to let me know that the world is still in proper working order, okay? So, like, lately I've been drifting between a second and third shift schedule where I'll just, like, get up and do my thing and then just write the rest of the morning until I look outside. I'm like, oh, geez, it's bright. Oh, it's 9 o'clock. Okay, I better stop. So,
Oh boy.
yeah, it's been kind of crazy, but I'm getting things done. I'm actually going a bit slower than I'd like to. I'd like to try to knock out 2 chapters a day, but I've been doing more like 1 because then I go back and I start out reviewing what I did yesterday and then carry through to the next chapter. So I'm doing 2 chapters a day, but the first half of that is the previous chapter from the day before. Just to make sure the continuity is in order. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Still hoping to make a Christmas target date for the release of Soul Dancer, but in the meantime, Ethereal is still doing well. It's still up on Amazon, Space Pirates, and Space Hell. If you haven't partaken of it, I recommend you do so now. The link is in the show notes.
Or will be at some point.
Yes, it will be. So, yeah, that's life of a writer. Wow.
So is it exceeding your expectations?
My progress?
No, the sales of Nethereal.
Yes, because I went into it with basically no expectations. What I did was I looked at, okay, what does like the average self-published novel sell in its first year? And that's like 250 copies. So like, okay, if I can't sell 250 copies, I'm doing something wrong, and selling exactly that will break even. So that's a good target. I'm going to go for that. And yeah, I've already beaten it. I beat it in like 3 months. So
Cool.
Okay.
thanks.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
not doing like
outsell your estimated sales in 3 months, then hey.
yeah, and I mean, and that's really, it's basically the cover. I've come to the conclusion it's Marcelo's cover that's doing that because I'm not really doing any hardcore marketing because I can't. Because like that costs money. If I had the money, like I'd be doing banner ads on targeted sites and stuff. But I'm just on Twitter and I'm blogging and the cover and this, and it's really it. I mean, I've had some other authors like John and Jeff Dunteman and Vox kind of give me a bit of a boost, but yeah, I mean, what can I say, man? Marcelo did amazing work.
I got credited with boosting somebody's sales on Amazon this last week. I don't think it was true, but the guy said that his sales jumped 350,000 places on Amazon after I retweeted one of his tweet ads for his book. So,
What kind of book was it?
it's I can't remember what it's called now. It's a modern Catholic vampire novel set in New York City with no sparkly vampires.
Oh, is that Declan Finn?
Yeah, Declan Finn.
Oh, he's awesome. Well, good for him.
What's the name of his book?
I know he did a Pious Man trilogy, but this one is different. Let me look that up. Actually, I want to know.
Any case, I retweeted him at some point, and he claimed that boosted him 350,000 places on Amazon, which I thought was just some. I just thought that was a ridiculous number. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't jump 350,000 places, but I don't have that many people following me unless I don't know.
It could happen. Because the Amazon rankings, as Larry explained, it not only has to do with how you're doing, it has to do with how everyone else is doing. So it might have been on a slow day for everyone else in his genre. I mean...
Oh, and his just happened to jump up, so...
Yeah. Honor at Stake, it looks like. Stake
okay.
spelled S-T-A-K-E.
So, that's Declan Finn's vampire New York City Catholic novel.
I put the link into our chat for you here.
Okay. So, I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to think if I want to go out on a limb here and actually, defend The Last Witch Hunter.
Yeah, you're going to need to.
We only have, 6 or 7 minutes and before Brian has to take off, but...
Let me give you something to defend against.
Okay.
It was...
Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it. The wife and I went out and did that, and it was kind of fun. And I think when you said it's not terrible, you meant to say it's watchable. I think that the show, the movie itself was just sort of this thing happened and this thing happened, and they didn't have enough time to sort of create an interesting plot or story or everything. And it was just Vin Diesel playing a D&D character. I don't know. My
big problem with the movie, which was the same problem with, I think, Seventh Son I just saw 6 or 7 months ago. That's just Saw for me. That's what kind of time frame I'm operating on with movies now. Is just Saw is 6 or 7 months ago. Had the same problem, which was it didn't really make a lot of... there wasn't any coherency to it. There wasn't any internal consistency to it. There wasn't any, what do they call it, the rules, to where you understood why things were happening and what was the limit of things happening. They violated Brandon Sanderson's first law of magic, which Brian can recite for us word for word.
Well, okay. Let me see if I can do it off the top of my head. Which is, okay, the degree to which you can use magic to solve problems in your world is directly proportional to how well you've laid out the rules for your magic system. That's the
exactly.
Oh, good.
You win.
What do I win?
You didn't embarrass yourself on the air by...
I'll take it.
That's exactly it. They didn't put any rules in, And so magic just kind of happened a bunch of times, but without rules that would make it make sense to where you knew, hey, this is dangerous, or hey, that's dangerous, or whatever. I mean, when you read the Dresden Files novels, you know that certain things happen because Dresden has limitations. For example, he has a ring that stores up kinetic energy. That's, motive energy, force energy, punch. And every time he moves, a little bit of the movement gets stored in the ring. So he can punch, but it can only store so much. So one, there's a maximum amount of force that can be stored. And two, once he's expended that force, the ring is useless until he recharges it. So you know immediately where the energy comes from, that there's a cap on the energy, and that you have to recharge it. So as soon as he uses that and he punches an assailant, and then the assailant gets back up, there's a sense of danger there because you know that Dresden no longer has that up his sleeve. He's bereft of an advantage. And that's because of Sanderson's first law. This movie made no attempt to place any kind of structure or limitations. There were at least, if I counted correctly, 5 different types of magic, and none of them had express abilities or limitations attached to them, which made the magic part of it seem too fluid, and it made it seem just confusing rather than threatening.
Yeah, and compare it to John Wick, which successfully evoked this, fantastic world. You got the idea of what the rules were, and you got the idea of how in just one or two key scenes, you kind of understood what was going on in this world, and that never happened in The Last Witch Hunter.
But it does have some really cool special effects. It does have some really cool action scenes, and I did enjoy it. I'm not saying it's a terrible movie. It was watchable. I enjoyed it. I didn't feel like I'd wasted my time, and I definitely didn't feel like I'd wasted my money because it only cost me $1. So.
Yeah, I mean, like I'd say to Brian roughly the same thing. If you haven't seen it yet, I didn't hate it, but I left and I didn't say, man, that was a waste of money. But I can't recommend it to anybody. Like, I can't say, yeah, you should watch it, because it's not good.
So that's a rental then?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I mean, Vin Diesel, the Flaming Sword. He'll get you that much.
But they did stop and think through the Flaming Sword.
I liked that.
They thought about it, and a liquid runs down the surface of the sword, and that's what he lights on fire. So they did put some thought into it, just not enough. Okay, Brian has got to go literally this very minute to go and see Spectre on time, so we will tell him thanks for showing up and on last minute, and have a good night. Say good night to everybody.
Good night, everybody. I will always make time for you and Daddy Warpig and Dorrinal.
And hopefully we'll talk about Spectre next week.
Yes.
Yeah, have fun. Let us know how it is.
Sure. Later.
Have a good night. Have you seen Spectre yet?
I have not.
Okay. Are you planning on going before next week?
I might make an effort. I've never been a James Bond viewer. I actually saw Skyfall when it came out. It is the only Bond movie I've ever seen.
Really? Wow.
You know what? It just wasn't part of my my movie education as I grew up.
I am really surprised. That genuinely just almost shocks me that you haven't seen any of the new Bonds.
Yeah, just Skyfall. And I could have gone my whole life never seeing a Bond movie. I mean, I enjoyed Skyfall, but I realized that I wasn't missing much.
Huh, okay.
Unless you count the Austin Powers movies. I've seen those.
See, and I'm a person who, because it was on sale on iTunes, I just spent $110 to buy every single James Bond movie.
Nuts.
There were 24 of them, so that's just over $4 a piece. So that's actually a good deal. if you're willing to, go all in on the whole of them at once.
Well, from what I understand, the Daniel Craig Bonds have been James Bourne instead of actual Bond movies.
I saved $230 by buying them that way over the life of, assuming I would have bought all those movies anyway.
Assuming. There's one thing that I'm not sure you know about me, is that I actually don't buy movies. I don't see the point in owning movies because I rarely watch a movie more than once.
I did not know that about you, and now I'm wasting air. I'm wasting dead air thinking about that.
Yeah, there's a few. I've seen a lot of movies many times, but I don't. As a rule, I just don't buy movies.
But you buy TV shows.
Yeah, occasionally. I've seen The Wire through twice, and the first season of The Wire at least one or two more times, plus a couple of other shows.
See, and I've seen,
Yes.
I don't even want to talk about it because it's material that's going to show up in the material that's going to show up in the memoir. So I don't want to talk about it. I found myself restraining it when subjects like that come up, so that when people go to read the memoir, they are pleasantly surprised by outre details rather than like, oh yeah, he says that all the time. So I have seen shows, individual shows, and entire series more often than you. I'll just say that. So
yeah.
All right. Well, I'll be interested to see, because it is not as good as Skyfall, in my opinion. I thought Skyfall was a great movie, and I thought this movie was not as good as Skyfall. So it'd be interesting to see what you think. All right.
Okay.
We are actually, I'm pretty sure we're out of time. I'm pretty sure
I think that's about 30 minutes. It was fun chatting with you.
So I will let you have is there any last words you want to say before we take off?
No, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for doing the Gab on short notice like that. It was fun. See you next week.
All right. This has been Geek Gab for Saturday, November 7th, 2015, episode number 30. I'll get some stuff in the notes later. Thanks everybody who has tuned in live, and everybody else who may listen to this in the future. We are your hosts, Brian Niemeier, Dorrinal, and me, Daddy Warpig. We will be back.